Yo, what is up guys, FaZe here and welcome back to another video. Like always, hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and today I'm going to be going over that same old question, the one that is always frequently asked: what is the best and easiest grind to play through? What tier 10 is the best to grind to? This video will contain the best line that you could possibly play that has no downfalls in terms of the tanks that you need to grind through in order to get that tier 10. Guys, before I kick this video off, I do want to mention that at the end of the video I do have a very nice game in the E100. The ending is quite irritating, so I do recommend you guys to stay tuned till the end of the video so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, there are many lines in the game that have very bad tier 8s or 7s or any type of tank during the progress of your line. In order to get to the tier 10, there are many lines that have very bad tanks while you grind through them, like the olden day T32. Back in the day, if you wanted to go for the T110E5, you had to grind through the T32, which was the worst tier 8 tank to ever grind because it had absolutely no pen, its gun was bad, it was awful, and it was so slow, and all you had was a bit of armor on your turret. Besides the T32 being buffed, I still don't think that is a great line to go and grind, because the T32, when it is stock, it's still a bit bad. The line that I'm talking about that is going to give you the best out of not being able to spend any money, as you are a free-to-play player, is the E100 line. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, oh, FaZe, how could you? The E100, how is that the best line? Well, let me just show you. It starts with the VK3601. If we're not going to talk about the tier 5s and lower, because obviously those are not going to apply to this line since the tier 5 branches off to the VK72 and mouse line. So we're going to start from the VK36. Now this tank is absolutely OP at tier 6. It has a lot of armor, it has a fantastic DPM, and it's very good. As you can see, if you look at my stats right now, this is my, obviously this is not my main account in North America, this is my EU account, so I haven't played it much. But we go to my tanks. As you can see, the VK36 is, I have 14 games in it, which is not a lot, to be fair. I have 80% win rate basically, and 2,700 average damage, almost about 2,645 to be exact. And that for a tier 6 tank, that is just crazy that I'm able to get that much damage and win rate out of it. And that's what you're going to get from this vehicle. Even when it's stock, its armor is still going to be the same, and you're going to have fantastic armor. You can side scrape in it, you can just completely go forward, you can rush people in it. While it's not the fastest vehicle, you have so much armor that you can just absolutely bully everyone. Then we move on to the Tiger 1, another fantastic tank. Now, when this tank is stock, you still have, while the armor is not fantastic on this tank, tier 6s will struggle to pen you, and you have a fantastic gun on this. This tank has probably one of the best DPMs at tier 7, and that just makes the Tiger 1 fantastic. The Tiger 1 is also very good when stock. You still have a very good gun. It's the same gun that is on the VK36, but a bit better since you do have a bit higher DPM in it, and for that reason I do think the Tiger 1 is also a fantastic tank. While it's not the greatest in terms of armor, it has been buffed in later times, meaning that it does have a lot more armor than it used to, and you can bounce a lot of shells from tier 6s. It's also very maneuverable, meaning that you can get to the front line or even rush the medium flank and yeah, just absolutely bully everyone. As you can see, my Tiger 1 is averaging 2,900 average damage almost, with an 83% win rate, and it's 40 games, so it's not a lot of games, but it still shows you how this vehicle or this line is really good, since I am playing and doing very well in these tanks. The next tank in the line is obviously the Tiger 2, which everyone knows is a fantastic tank. It's used in tournaments, it's used in just regular battles just to get that win rate up, because Tiger 2, in its later time, since it's been buffed and has great armor nowadays, it's just a fantastic tank. You have a lot of armor. Tier 7s are not going to pin you at all. Even tier 8s are going to struggle with premium rounds to penetrate this tank. Its DPM, while not great, it is actually lower than the Tiger 1, but the Tiger 2 has fantastic penetration for a tier 8 vehicle. It has a solid enough reload that and alpha. Obviously, it's not the same alpha as your Russian heavy tanks like you probably used to. The alpha is 310, and that makes it that you can still trade with a lot of people at tier 7 that are medium tanks or even heavy tanks. You're going to out trade them, and the Tiger 2's ability to side scrape, even just have enough armor to frontally face your enemies. There is no weak spot in the front of this vehicle if you are directly facing them or even side scraping. Obviously, you have a little tiny cupola on the top of the vehicle, but that doesn't make the tank weak. It is just a fantastic tank. A Tiger 2 is probably the best tier 8 tank in the game. I'm going to say that right now. There are a lot of tier 8 tanks out there, but the Tiger 2 as a tech 2 vehicle still holds its ground. When it's stock, you still have that fantastic armor. While the turret won't be as strong, you do have a great gun still, and that's why I do think the Tiger 2 is also a fantastic tank. again, we can go and look at the stats on my Tiger 2. And I know this is not a video about looking at my stats and whatnot. I'm just trying to show you how this line can be very effective at you being able to dish out the damage and win your battles. In the Tiger 2, I'm running 83 games, which is not a lot, to be fair, but like all the other ones, I did grind through this line very fast, to be honest. If you take the precautions of grinding your XP and saving your free XP to get the modules and your way through the line, you are going to complete lines very fast. I mean, I have my first tier 10 in under 400 battles. Because you're going to win a lot of your games, it means that you're going to earn a lot more XP and credits and free XP and crew XP, meaning that you grind through these lines a lot quicker. Obviously, I'm running 2,830 average damage with a 72% win rate on the Tiger 2, and that again just shows you how fantastic another tank in this line can be. We're going to move on to the second last tank, the E75. Now, this tank is fantastic. It always has been fantastic since it's always held this very, very strong armor profile. While it is a very boxy tank like all the rest of the tanks in this line, it still has a fantastic armor profile. A lot of tier 8s will struggle a lot to pen this tank. Now, the armor is not the greatest at tier 9. It's still one of the strongest armor profiles out there. Since it is very boxy and flat, this means that you can pen the cheeks on the vehicle pretty easily with premium rounds. But if you're moving back and forth, and the traverse speed that this tank has allows you to move very quickly side to side and making that weak spot on the turret very hard to actually hit if people are trying to hit that. Obviously, you have a hatch like all the rest of the vehicles in this line. The hatch is also very small, and it means that you cannot be penned very easily or reliably by your enemies on that hatch. Now, tier 9s will butter through you if they are running premium rounds and calibrated shells. That lower plate, while it is fairly strong and you will get very troll bounces on it, even the slightest angle will make that bottom plate very strong. You must know that premium rounds will butter straight through the lower plate and the cheeks of the vehicle, but because its ability to side scrape and its high alpha gun means that you can just butter through enemies and bounce a lot of shells in return. Stock, the tank is, while it's not the greatest tank to play stock, it is very slow when it's stock. You still have that fantastic armor. Even the turret is still pretty strong, and for that reason you do still have the Tiger 2's gun, which is pretty good since it does have good penetration, but obviously tier 10 will be a struggle to pen. But the E75 for a stock vehicle, even then, it is still a very strong tank. Last but not least, you have the E100. Now, this is the big dogger. This is the big boy of the line. It is one of the biggest tanks in the game. It has the second highest amount of hit points in the game, second to the mouse. Obviously, the mouse has 3,000, and the E100 has 2,750. This is without running the improved assembly equipment slot that gives you 2,900 hit points, basically the same amount as the mouse, which is just crazy. I mean, the E100 is just a fantastic tank. Recently, the tank has also been buffed. Its turret went from a very easy to pen target to actually a very hard target for people to actually pen. If you are a medium tank, there are no medium tanks are really going to pen the turret, even if the tank is on a flat ground. Now, yes, some medium tanks will pen the turret if they are running calibrated shells, but angling your tank upwards would make this turret incredibly hard to pen. As long as you're actually angling the tank as well, angling the turret with the tank, you are going to bounce so many shells. And what's very nice about the E100, unlike a lot of tier 10 vehicles, the E100 is actually stock when you first play it, since the tank requires you to research the top gun being the 640 Alpha Beast gun that this tank has. Now, it's just crazy that a heavy tank can have that much alpha. Unlike the 60 TP that has 600, this has 640, which means you can hit 700 rolls very easily, and the HE on this tank is absolutely crazy. Despite it having a 460 alpha gun from the E75 when stock, it is still a fantastic tank to run, since you still have that very good armor profile that the E100 has, despite being stock or max, and that 460 alpha gun is very good since you played it on the E75 when the E75 was max, and it can pen a lot of enemies. It has high enough alpha to actually compete with a lot of tier 10 heavy tanks, and that just makes it a great tank to play stock. And in my opinion, having two guns on this vehicle is actually very nice, since when you are stock in the E100, you're going to have a better time hitting your targets with the gun from the E75, the 460 alpha gun, than you would be when you're stock. Since the 640 alpha gun has higher aiming time, higher reload time, and overall less accuracy. So when you're a free-to-play player and you're grinding new lines, when you get a brand new tank, I do recommend getting the 75% crew. Even though it only costs 200,000 credits, it is a great boost in performance for the vehicle. That 15% or 25% increase from 50% to 75% is a great deal when it comes to grinding tank stock. Anyways, I only recommend you to get the 640 Alpha gun if you are in the ranges of 90% to 100% crew, because the gun is going to be very inaccurate, especially that you don't have equipment, as obviously if you're playing free to play, you can't get equipment that easily, so credits are a hard thing to deal with if you don't have a premium account or a premium tank. And again, if you'd like to see the stats as well, showing you that the E100 is a great and fantastic choice as a tier 10, I'm currently running 71% with only 17 battles, so keep that in mind. But I'm running 71% win rate with 3,500 average. I hope to bring that up just a bit, but the E100, while it has a great and fantastic gun when maxed, it doesn't have the greatest of DPM. 2,500 DPM is the maximum you're really going to get from this vehicle if you're running adrenaline as well. And yeah, it's not a DPM tank, but because of its great alpha, you can just poke and just out-trade every heavy that you come up against. Even 60 TPs are not going to roll as high as an E100. Obviously, a VK72 runs the exact same gun as the E100, so you can expect the same thing from that vehicle as well. But this line is a fantastic choice for you guys, since it has everything you'd want from a stock grind. If you're a free-to-play player, then I highly suggest you to grind this line. You're going to get a good tank regardless of it being stock or not. I mean, when it isn't stock, you get a fantastic tank, and when it is stock, you do still have a good tank that can do the just that it needs to do on the battlefield without you pulling your hair out, basically. Everything I've told you so far is accounting for the reasons why I think the E100 line is the best grind to grind if you are a free-to-play player or for your first grind. Now, I don't recommend the E100 as itself as the first tier 10 you should get, but the grind is so easy that even for a new player, I do suggest this line to be your first, along with the IS-7 and IS-4, mainly because when these vehicles are stock, they are fantastic, like I mentioned, and even when they're maxed, they just become even better and better the further you progress yourself through the line. And what's very nice about this line is that the aspects and the skills you learn with the tank will pass through the rest of the line. So for instance, you can play the Tiger 2 and learn how to side scrape and be a frontline heavy tank. That skill from the Tiger 2 that you have built up can be then brought to the E75, which will play out in your favor, since the E75 is also a vehicle that can take value from players that understand how to side scrape and be a frontline heavy tank. The E100 can then also take that skill that you've learned from the E75 and Tiger 2 and use it to its advantage. So it's unlike a lot of other tech trees out there that have different playstyles between the entire progress of your grind. The E100 line sticks to the same skill set and the same values at which you learn throughout it. So that is another reason why I really recommend this line. But there we go. This line is a fantastic line. Let me know what you guys think. Would you choose any other line instead of the E100 line? And let me know why in the comment section. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, you can leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you can hit 1,000 subscribers very soon. But anyways, that's it for me today, guys. Hopefully your shells hit their marks, and I'll check you in the next one. Goodbye.